All right, that was a very good encapsulation of what has happened over the last 1 week between India and Canada. And joining me, a very perceptive and well-informed panel of guests from all over, from the United States, from London, from Delhi. And hopefully, viewers, by the end of this debate, you would have made your own conclusions as to what's really happening with Canada and specifically with Justin Trudeau. Introducing my guests, Ambassador Mahesh Sachdeva. He's a former diplomat. He joins us live from Delhi. We have Jitendra K. Oja, geopolitical analyst and expert. He's an ex-joint secretary of the cabinet, and he's joining us live from Delhi again. We have Burjeen K. Wagner. He's a member of the SOAS, which is School of Oriental and Asian Studies, South Asia Institute, live from London. And we also have Dr. Joseph Chalil. He's author, publisher of Universal News Network. He's also former chairman of the Indo-American Press Club, and he was in fact part of the proposed Canadian trade delegation that was to visit New Delhi but had to be cancelled given the frostiness that has come between India and Canada. Apart from that, we also have Adit Kothari. He's an international affairs expert. He's joining us live from London, and I would want to begin the debate or set the debate with Rich Outzen. He's a former colonel of the US Army and former senior advisor to the State Department. He's joining us live from Burke, Virginia. And Outzen, Rich, you know, where's the evidence really? I mean, do we really have the evidence, or it's just thin air about which Justin Trudeau is talking about for his political objectives?
Well, it's good to be with you. Thanks for inviting me to this distinguished group. I believe that there is sensitive intelligence gathered through what I infer from publicly available sources was sensitive signals intelligence. So that would be intercepts of either telephone or radio communications linking people believed by Washington and by Ottawa to be associated with the government of India to this assassination. So I don't think it was made up out of thin air. The nature of intelligence work, especially when it's highly compartmentalized, signals intelligence is among the most sensitive types of intelligence that are gathered. So this Five Eyes arrangement is the innermost circle of how the United States shares intelligence. Now, this is a case where, as the British Columbia premier was saying, you might want to make a case for a sanitized release of what the basis of information is, because there's obviously a huge diplomatic fallout. And it would not be the first time that sensitive intelligence had been released. Sometimes that intelligence ends up being wrong, by the way, and sometimes it ends up being right. But because so much of this diplomatic row is rooted in whether the intel is legitimate or not, I think there's a strong case for pressing for release in this case.
You know, I have a torrent of questions for Rich, actually. Rich, you'll get to respond, but I have to just get in the opening comments from Dr. Joseph Chalil, because he was, in fact, coming in with the Canadian delegation. Mr. Chalil, we have seen no word whatsoever in terms of evidence on who killed Karima Baloch, because she was killed by the Pakistani deep state in 2020. It's been 3 years now. We don't know, we have no clarity on who killed Ripudaman Singh Malik just last year. It's been more than a year now. And the Canadians are absolutely silent. So obviously, there is some connection between Hardeep Singh Nijjar and the agencies in Canada. Perhaps he was their asset. That's the reason why this bellicosity that we are seeing, led by their Prime Minister himself. It seems Justin Trudeau, at the very least, has been taken up the garden path by the agencies for whom Nijjar was an asset. And their incompetence has been caught.
It's an unfortunate incident. Again, we were looking forward to visiting India and making trade deals with India. Again, the deal was announced earlier. I was selected from a lot of applicants, along with a few others who lead companies in Canada. I have a few hundred employees in Canada. We have a factory in Windsor. So we were looking forward to access to the India as a market to export our technologies, our products to India. But again, we were led by the trade minister, Mary Ng, which were supposed to be in Mumbai on the 8th of October, scheduled to have dinner with Minister Goyal, and then followed up visits in Mumbai, in Bangalore, and Hyderabad. Unfortunately, this issue, which was a fiasco made up by our Canadian Prime Minister, it is not, please don't think that the Canadian people are with him. He's one of the most unpopular prime ministers in Canada. We also know, I've been talking to the Chamber of Commerce, and Mr. Najjar is no saint. He came to Canada illegally. His asylum was denied. His applications to citizenship was denied. But then, he is, we have pictures showing him carrying an AK-47 rifle. Canada has an assault weapon ban. No one's allowed to have it, other than, military personnel. So this is not a saint. It's like, are we questioning United States on killing Osama bin Laden? Are we questioning America on drone strikes in rest of the world? So again, you talk about signal intelligence, and you talk about wiretaps, and we talk about evidence. If people brag about stuff, even if they didn't do it, but in a court of law, you need solid proof to convict somebody. So as long as the killer is not being caught, anyone who paid the killer to, if it's a hit for hire, hasn't been caught. There's no information, other than the police saying they're looking for 3 people whom they can't find. So unfortunately, no matter what signal we can say, it's all hearsay, and they definitely need to bring in solid evidence. But look at the travesty, and look at the victims of this unnecessary political fiasco. I mean, I would call it's done for political reasons, for survival. I believe Prime Minister was given ultimatum by his supporters in one party that if he doesn't speak out, that they will pull support. That seemed to be the case. But they need to, the victims are the business community, like the Canadian business community, like ourselves. We were looking forward to, making a trade pact with India, as opposed to what we have now, a trade pact with Ukraine. I'm not sure who is sending anything to Ukraine right now. So we wanted a free trade between Canada and India. Our students were a majority of the new enrollments coming into Canada. It's just a matter of time. I'm a professor in the American university as well. So, it's just a matter of time. These students, make a choice and come back to USA, which is much safer. And I see, friends of mine sending me videos that Indians are being threatened in Canada in public. It's even from today and yesterday. So I unfortunate that the minority of this Khalistani terrorists are causing issues for rest of the world. I was told by some of my friends, please don't them even Khalistani, because it's Khalsa means pure. It's insulting to the word of Khalsa. It's insulting to the Sikh religion. Almost all of the Sikh people are very patriotic to India. And this is an aberration. This is an insult. I'm unfortunate. I hope our Canadian Prime Minister gets his act together.
Okay, Dr. Chalil, what can be the cost? Canada's foreign direct investment in India is just about 0.5% of India's total FDI, whatever India gets from around the world. And we are not the biggest of trading partners. What can be really the consequences for India if we really up the ante and really decide that Canada, for whatever it has done, in directly getting involved in compromising India's sovereignty and territorial integrity, has to pay the price? I'll come to you, Rich.
Unfortunately,
Dr. Chalil.
Unfortunately, in this case, Canada needs India more than India needs Canada. Canadian companies, we want a market to export. We don't have access to, again, Chinese is we having issues with Chinese companies. We have our automotive coming again. We were supposed to have been a lot of clean air. We have technologies on clean energy in EV battery systems, in healthcare products, which we want to support India. We want to bring products to India. That could have been billions of dollars in trade for Canada and hundreds or thousands of employment in Canada. Unfortunately, the selective persecution of India is causing all this to death. For example, again, we talk about free speech, but hate speech or hate crime is not free speech. Now we have Mr. Panu openly calling for abuse of Indian diplomats, Hindus, and other Gujaratis in Canada. Why is it not persecuted? Why is it openly allowed? So just in claiming that Najjar had free speech, wielding AK-47, it doesn't make sense.
And may I say, a very diplomatic way of suggesting that let's be done with Trudeau and talk to the people of Canada directly. On that note, thank you so much, Ambassador Sachdeva, Jitendra K. Ojha, and of course, Adit Kothari and Mr. Wagner from London, and then Dr. Chalil from Florida, and Rich, as always, very engaging and combative from very close to Washington, D.C. Thank you so much, friends, for joining us. And on that note, we come to an end of this conversation. Short break. Story live and breaking continues on the other side. And Arnab Goswami is back with the debate tomorrow, 9 p.m.